because they have
incredible.
My heart.
No,
every time they
Thanks,
move out.
thank you, Michael.
That's
because
really
we put
nice.
you on camera.
You know,
finally,
I don't even know.
And you just
Why,
ruin it.
why
it
is
all.
he even here?
Ruin it.
Why is he even here?
He's here to drink
Do we
all our
really-
Dr. Pepper.
Do we have a grocery bag?
I don't mean. Yeah, he lives
grocery
here.
bag.
That's
Do
it.
you have any hard candies so you can
You wanna
like
just crunch
ruffle the
those?
wrapper right next to the
Hey,
microphone?
Hey, buddy, use your. Hey, oh my God, ASMR. Why don't you
ASMR.
go
Terrible.
ahead, sing the Italian national anthem for us, buddy?
Welcome to the Power of Bros podcast, where we all sound the same and our points don't matter. I am Ty, your leader and overlord.
And none of us will introduce ourselves.
Nor should you,
No.
because I'm the only one that
Because
matters.
we all sound the same.
I'm
And
the only
also
one that
Ty
matters.
is our leader and overlord.
Yeah,
so
I'm
who
Ty,
else
your
needs
leader and
We don't
overlord.
need to know anything
I'm
else.
Devin, your leader and overlord. I'm Ethan, your leader and overlord.
Good.
I resemble that.
And I was Quentin once.
I really hope we don't have any audio listeners because our podcast
video
is
is-
unintelligible.
it would be
Okay,
insane.
so here's the thing.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I just took your first line of you saying I'm Ty,
Yeah.
the leader and overlord, and copied it
Copy
over and over
pasted.
again, that would sound more like all of us than your impersonation.
Then you're yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
You
I
guys
was
did the
I was
opposite
I was
direction.
trying really hard to make them
Just
all
sound the same.
the same.
Yeah.
You did good. That was pretty good.
Well, we all
Except
sound
for
the
the
same and our
last
points
one.
don't matter.
Except
So, I
for
mean,
the
you
last
know,
And none of that mattered.
you know.
None of that matters.
Or as I said, our points are all the same and our voices don't matter.
Voice don't matter.
That
They
was
don't.
a good
They
one.
really
That was
don't.
a good one.
All of it's true.
Guys, welcome
It's all
back
correct.
to the temporary refugee space.
We were here last week.
We were literally here last week.
No, I mean, but welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah,
Welcome
because,
back
because,
after a
it's-
long week.
Right,
Yes.
because one
Oh,
Tuesday led to another.
I actually do feel like it's been forever.
It
You feel
feels
like
like
it?
it's been
I'm
a long
exhausted.
time.
Weird.
yeah,
We need
have-
to do two
yeah.
of these a week.
We have, and especially there is something different here that
What is it? What is it?
the viewers haven't seen
Yes.
Okay.
That is.
yet, and that I need to remind not to fidget with
Play
his
some
elbows
dramatic
on the
bad
table.
Yeah,
music
and
over the-
It's Michael B.
Oh my God! Not only
Incredible.
he's not only fidgeting
Welcome,
with his
Michael B, to the
elbows, he's also
podcast.
fidgeting with his man-child toys.
Yeah.
I'm a man-child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Welcome to
is.
the podcast.
He is.
If you're gonna
Welcome.
fidget, don't do it on the table. It'll
Why-
like go pop, pop, pop,
Have you-
pop,
have you
pop,
considered
pop,
I
just
don't have
like
one of
this?
these.
no,
things.
no,
No, like,
take your
no
elbows
kinetic-
off
yeah.
the
Yeah,
table.
There you go. You did it.
And in
don't
But
fact-
now
break
you're
my-
too
There's
far away from the
some,
microphone.
All right.
Yeah,
here's
there
a
you go.
Can't play
here's
with
a
a toy.
suggestion.
We need to get a good fidget spinner for you.
We need. You need
Yeah.
a fidget spinner.
Fidget spinners
Oh,
would make
Good God, why
may
not?
pick up may have pickup noise.
No,
Yeah, he's
come
got a
on.
pen.
You
He's
got a pen. Play with a pen.
Oh, everything's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great. You know,
That was me.
no one's muting their phones.
I muted
Uh,
it. I did it.
Yeah, good week for everybody.
Except for me.
Big things
Yeah,
in the
it was
works.
bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Good week for everybody.
In fact,
please
we have,
don't-
me and you've been working on some fun stuff that
We have.
might be by the time this comes out, we might have a little preview.
The
of it.
the
Yes.
most fun I've had this week is that at the doctor's office they took 12 vials of blood, and honestly, I was like, "Man, you all are
You gotta get it back.
I
bro.
said, "Medical science is amazing that you didn't kill me when
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
great.
It's amazing. They had
Great.
to.
I
I
also
mean,
lost 12 vials of blood, but it was not related to the doctor's
I mean,
office.
it was amazing. They had one arm tapping me of blood and the other one transfusing it. It was the only way to keep me alive.
the only way to
the
do it.
vampire
circling
dragon.
in and
It was
out of your body.
Quinn just had
Circulation.
dialysis, and he didn't know what it was.
I had dialysis. I had dialysis, and I didn't understand it until they said, "You remember that thing that they had to do to save Raiden in MGS4?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, dialysis."
And then they went, "Oh wait, Quentin Dotson."
And Quinn
and they said this was useless.
this was useless.
There was
Quinn-
no reason.
And Quinn went, "You gave me a robot body?"
yeah,
And I was amazed. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fun week.
What a
Alright,
terrible
fun week.
segue into the news. Okay, so I'll tell you some gaming news.
I also have some gaming news.
Oh wow.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
I actually do have some gaming news. Can I start?
Tide,
I want you to kick it
please.
off.
All right.
I don't.
I'm gonna kick it off.
Kick it off.
Banjo Tooie
Yeah.
on NSO.
Yeah.
Banjo Tooie, of course, a game that
Congratulations.
Nintendo refused to touch for
Yeah.
the last
Didn't touch.
20 years.
Yeah. Is it on Xbox?
It is.
It is
yeah,
on
yeah.
Xbox, but it's not been on a Nintendo
The
console
Xbox
since-
remake is. This is the first time the original.
But this is the first time
launch of
Banjo,
Banjo
Tooie
Tooie,
has been
yeah.
on a Nintendo
Interesting.
hardware
Anything.
Very cool.
since
Anything.
launch.
64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since
the one with
launch.
the first-person shooter segment.
It has
yeah.
first-person
shooter
In fact,
segments.
it has 4-player split screen first person.
Yeah.
shooter.
It's beautiful.
Banjo Tooie is
Yeah.
great, and the fact that Nintendo is even acknowledging it at all is wonderful.
It is.
Pretty good.
What do you think about? So the Xbox version famously runs in 60 frames and everything's shiny because they didn't know how to make games back then.
They forgot.
They forgot how to make games.
Have they?
Let me
They
just tell you
haven't
that-
ever known.
You know what? I'm just going to tell you
No.
this,
We
guys.
had a
Never
section
know.
on
We had
that
a
the other
segment
day.
on
Guys, I have the perfect
Microsoft.
analogy for this. Okay, it's just like when these people that are like, I don't know how they built those pyramids. That's how everyone is with video games.
Yeah.
They used to make video games that
Yeah.
were good, and they
Yeah.
were just like, I don't know.
I don't know how they
we
did
did
it.
it.
We've
I don't know how
lost
they
it.
did
I don't remember. How did we get those stones so high?
No, the
Yeah.
question is
How did we move them so far?
Build it from the top down.
Did we build it from the top down?
aliens.
Maybe.
Aliens made
I
Banjo
don't-
Tooie.
Man, what was it?
No, do you
Not
think
far.
do you think Nintendo is going to go for? I mean, if we're going to go based on historically, the answer to this is yes. But do you think they're going to go for console accuracy, where Banjo Tooie maxed out at
almost
like
certainly.
22 frames? I think is the highest frame rate Banjo Tooie gets.
Yeah, something in
Yeah,
that
it's
range.
abysmal.
No, it's not good, but
Do you think that they'll do that, or will they give you an option?
they're gonna bump it to 30?
You think so?
I think it'll probably run at 30.
Now,
'Cause
historically,
they're not
Nintendo
gonna-
doesn't.
They're not gonna run it at 22.
But historically,
I
they
guess
don't.
I guess they
Yeah,
might.
Their
I-
emulator focuses a lot on accuracy, is what I'll
Sure.
say.
It's the first
but-
official release of Majora's Mask that adds back in the slowdown during the giant scene, so that the music
yeah.
still lines
Uh-huh.
up.
Yeah.
Did they which that I mean they've had that in ROM settings forever with Majora's Mask. To be fair.
Yeah.
You mean
So-
unofficially, but I mean Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, I
with,
see what you mean.
With
When they-
NSO,
when
they're
they
trying to
re-released it,
actually.
With like on the
yeah.
Wii and on the Wii U, it just sped
Oh,
it just
I
sped
see what
right
you're
through
saying.
it. Yeah.
Well, they may do 22, but it would feel like with 22, it kind of pointless.
I'm worried that
30 is
that game
close enough
ran
and better
so
looking.
poorly that at least make it a toggle. So if you want,
Yeah. Well, this goes back to
did
our
GoldenEye have a FPS toggle? I know it had a widescreen.
GoldenEye,
which
toggle.
I
No.
believe
but
Banjo Tooie has
GoldenEye holds a solid 24 to 30 frames.
Okay.
It doesn't really have
which
bad
I
frame
believe
rates.
Banjo Tooie also has a widescreen mode.
It does.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has a
Oh,
widescreen.
nice.
I will say, when
Super
it comes
cool.
to this, we have had the discussion of which is better when it comes to an emulator, console accuracy or
Give
functionality.
me a
Functionality,
choice.
And choices, obviously.
Yeah,
the
give me a
correct.
choice.
Choices,
Because
obviously.
there's
Correct
no
is obviously
reason.
the best
Because there's no reason to not have a choice. It's
Yeah,
an emulator.
no.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
make it the toggle.
Also, Banjo Tooie
it's like
coming.
it's like the CRT filter. I like them, but like
And a lot of
give
people
me a
don't.
choice.
Or
Yeah,
widescreen.
don't force it.
Widescreen.
on me, yeah.
A
Give me
lot
a
of people
choice.
love widescreen. I do not want widescreen
Yeah.
hacks in anything.
I like
No,
'em.
me neither.
So I
just
having
play
that
it
as a
like you
toggle.
played it originally.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
It's also kind of confirmation that basically all of Rare Replay is just going to come. Like if Nintendo
I
had
hope.
it, because the NES games are now back.
I think Conquer might be
On
a little.
NSO.
I think that might
They
be.
have the
that might be
mature
a
app,
stretch.
remember? They have the mature app
one,
with
and the only
Perfect
one
Dark
and
is
Turok.
for
Conquer-
N64.
I would love if Conquer came to the NSO. However,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I feel like Nintendo has tried to distance themselves from Conquer.
It's hard to tell. Like they distance
I think-
themselves so much
I feel
from
like,
Rare in
I
general.
feel like Conquer
That's true.
hasn't existed in 30 years, and so it's easy to distance yourself.
Neither
from
has Banjo though.
That's true.
That's what makes me sad.
But they
Well,
put him in
maybe.
Smash.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ban-
true.
Banjo's
True.
been a little more
They
relevant.
didn't put Conquer
Yeah.
in Smash.
True.
Yeah, I was about to say
Microsoft
Conquer didn't even get
hasn't
a
done
sticker.
anything
Can you
with
believe
them.
that?
I know.
The
No, he
disrespect.
didn't.
They put
No.
Banjo Kazooie in there, and they did not even
No
give Conquer
Conquer
a sticker.
sticker.
Jet Force Gemini got a sticker.
Jet Force
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah, but not Conquer.
Nintendo. I'm coming for you. Disrespect.
I've always had the opinion
I know you don't like Conquer.
that I've always had the opinion that it's a mediocre platformer, and more people would recognize that if it wasn't dirty.
Conquer is fun mostly because of varied gameplay.
Yeah, but
Varied gameplay.
it's just
and
kind of
humor.
okay. Yeah,
I
without
I
the-
don't like
without
some
the dirty
of the
stuff.
I don't like some of the potty humor, but I do think a lot of that game is funny. But
a lot of it though is like teehee, I'm not supposed to be seeing this, and then you become an adult and you're like, it doesn't matter if I see this, and it doesn't.
Yeah, I will say if you
You
play
see that
it,
stuff scrolling YouTube these days.
when you play it as a
right.
Instagram reels.
if you
have that
play
kind
it
of
as a
Yeah.
kid, it's like, oh man, I shouldn't be playing this. This
Right.
is so man, you
It's
know,
naughty. It's a little
this
like
bee is making love to a flower with woman's anatomy. That's something where you're like, oh
I
man,
gotta play this game.
oh
I
yeah,
gotta play this
no,
game.
but that's the thing though, is that now obviously there's you go on Steam and immediately you're like blasted, like you open the Ark of the Covenant with with simulator and you're just purchase.
I'm pretty sure Simulator
you know.
only released console release was the Switch though. So.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo allows everything on their
really
platform.
strange.
uncensored
Really strange.
stuff.
It also has to
it's
bleep
mainly
that word.
it's mainly to
YouTube.
it's mainly to promote their parental software.
Yeah, whatever.
And how
I don't
good it
care
is.
about their excuses.
So before I forget my news points, I'm going to talk
Please,
about
yeah.
them.
Please do.
The Nintendo Switch Online Playtest.
Yeah.
yeah, we heard some
They asked
information.
everybody not to talk about
And
it,
then they
and
did.
not one person respected
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So
not one.
it actually hasn't begun yet. It'll
It's
begin
been
on
data mined.
it's been data
Yeah.
mined.
Well, you gave access to human beings who are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they expected.
It's fine. No, they fully expected this.
They
There's no
fully
way
expected
didn't.
it. It's like a game where you like go around
It
and
seems like
the-
some
see the
kind of
planet.
social hub.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Well,
it's like a
what is-
PlayStation Home
so
style.
you-
Oh, I haven't heard
It's
about this.
it's
Yeah.
basically like you have a planet with sectors, and each person creates these platforms with lights or something like that, and
Yeah.
it's basically about growing up the forest and the plants and growing up your little like habitat and trying to preserve and create nature across a whole sector, and it's like an MMO.
It seems like
it-
it's gonna. It seems like it has
I don't
know.
support.
I've
I've
think-
seen pictures of profiles that have Mii's, but that might.
I'm going to
just
tell
be
you what I
a-
think
Yeah.
this is.
Hmm.
I'm going to guess right now for the podcast nation. Right
you
now,
heard it here first.
I'm going to say that this is a test for an Animal Crossing MMO.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
say that this
definitely-
is an Animal Crossing MMO
Yeah.
that is going to focus on forestation.
I think
could
I've
be
been
it.
saying for a while that I
Deforestation.
liked.
Well, that
I
would be
liked,
more exciting.
Yeah, I liked Miiverse and the idea of having some kind of interconnective hub.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of them, like PlayStation, tried this with PlayStation Home. It was just too complex. It needs to be something real simple, easy to get into and bounce out of. And I think this idea could serve as that. Someone said that it looks like it has functionality to connect to other games.
Oh,
So like
that's
maybe your other games can
What
like
if
the
it's
games
like
you
an-
play can affect it.
I know this is kind of crazy, but what if this is an evolution of Wara-wara Plaza from the Wii U,
It could be.
oh,
where, like,
yeah,
where it's like the home menu of the
Yeah.
console?
which that
Hmm.
was.
I liked it.
That was really
High
It was
concept,
high concept, poor
bizarre-
implementation. I
bizarre
don't know
They
what
didn't
the
support it.
they did
That's
not
the Wii
support
U
that well.
problem.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
true,
Wii U
fair.
problem.
Very true.
A lot of good concepts.
I'm excited
for
to
that
see what it
console.
actually
Yeah,
like
me
looks
too.
and
Yeah, me
plays
too.
like. I'm
It's-
interested.
I-
It's the first thing that like has happened in like
a while.
the gaming industry that's like exciting because it's so like
It's different.
Well, Nintendo
Yeah, high
Nintendo is
concept.
not going to get me to buy their console unless they do something that says, "Hey, this is you can only have this experience on Nintendo consoles,
Yeah.
and it's going to pay off." If they announce a new 3DS and they say Street Pass is back, Street Pass is back, PictoChat is back, all
Yeah.
that, I'll be in line.
Yeah.
Well, I said that like
that's
Nintendo.
it.
We talked to a couple of weeks ago that Nintendo needs to do something wacky, like a new feature, and how
Mhm.
some
right.
of us would be kind of disappointed. We said
yeah,
we
very
said a
interested
while
in this.
back that
Very,
like,
very interested in this.
the next Switch, it would be kind of disappointing if it's just a Switch 2, right? Like
Yeah,
it would be
right.
kind of disappointing if they don't have anything. And one of my points was it doesn't necessarily have to be a hardware thing. They could do a software thing that
Yeah.
made me go,
That was a
ooh,
good
they're
point.
doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the start of something like this. Maybe the whole Switch 2 thing is going to be that it's like Death Stranding and everybody's integrating
You never
with
know.
everybody
Yeah.
else. And
You
if
never
I build
know.
a bridge in Animal Crossing, you can drive across it in Mario Kart.
You know,
I mean,
I don't know.
That's
Or-
actually
or-
a really cool idea.
Given that Animal Crossing was name dropped in a recent Death Stranding promotional,
Yeah.
maybe in Death Stranding you can build a bridge, and then in
It's
Animal
Animal
Crossing
Crossing.
you can walk across it to get to your friend's house who is an antelope.
Who is an antelope and
Right?
is also dead.
He is
and
also
floating up
Oh,
into
no.
the
He
sky.
is a goat. If you
He's pretty
kill,
friendly, though.
Ghost antelope.
oh no, wait! If one of your
A
animals,
gantelope.
if one of your animals moves out,
It's a crater.
they create a crater.
create a crater.
That's because they have.
Incredible.
Doing my heart
No.
every time they
Thanks,
move out.
thank you,
That's-
Michael.
that's
We
really
put
nice.
you on camera.
You know,
finally,
I don't even know.
And you just
Why,
Ruin it
why is
all.
he even here?
ruin it.
Why is he even
Ruins it.
here?
He's here to drink
we
all our
have a-
Dr. Pepper.
Do we have a grocery bag?
I don't mean. Yeah, he lives
grocery
here.
bag.
That's
Can you,
it.
do you have any hard candy so you can
You wanna
like
just crunch
ruffle the
those?
wrapper right next to the
Hey,
microphone?
Hey, buddy, why use your? Hey, oh my God, ASMR! Why don't you
ASMR.
go
Terrible.
ahead, sing the Italian national anthem for us, buddy? Go ahead.
I don't even know the
Bum,
Italian
ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Okay, can
Definitely
we?
not it.
Are we still
Are
doing?
we all the way through?
Are we still
everyone
doing
else?
news?
I think the news is good. I can't think of anything else that's been going on. Hey, have you guys heard of Analogue before? They're a company that makes these like what I describe as the Rolls Royce of retro game consoles.
Oh.
They use what they call FPGA technology. It's not emulation at all, and it emulates the games as close to the original, but brings them
Thought it wasn't emulation.
it plays the actual hardware of the game as close as possible to the original, but brings
Yeah.
it to like a modern device. Like it has HDMI. They're super fancy consoles. The one that they just came out with last year, I think, was the Analog Pocket. Big deal. Game Boy games. The reason
Okay.
I bring them up to close out the news is
Still on the news?
We went back in time.
yeah, we went back in time. You're ruining the illusion.
Time travel. We got the
Um,
DeLorean.
No, they just they announced it last year, but they are not last year. They announced it earlier this year.
Yeah.
Anyways, they finally came out with the Analog 3D, which is their take on the N64.
Oh, nice.
I snagged one, thank goodness.
Yeah, nice.
Saw it quick.
Yeah, the white one did. The black model I think is still available
That's
for pre-order.
They always make more.
It's a
That's
shame.
racist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
I want to
believe
add
this.
one other
That's-
thing onto the news before we dive in.
Oh,
Go ahead,
we're-
go ahead.
Can we?
Is that we are aware
Mhm.
of the Game Freak leak. But
Oh.
we should, when I was talking about this with Gwen, is that we should we are gonna talk about it, but instead of like randomly talking about the tiny little bits of information,
Put it all
we're
together.
going to do a little bit of research and probably dedicate like a larger part of a future podcast
sounds
to
fun.
discussing
Like
what's
more
in
sections,
it.
maybe.
There
something
is
like that.
some really fascinating things in it.
Mhm.
I have seen
Okay.
a bunch of the like art, like concept art and stuff, but supposedly, and this hasn't come out yet, there are leaked versions of games that aren't released yet.
Oh.
And the leaker has said he might not even say anything more about them because he doesn't want them to get canceled.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so
All right.
between those
That's
two things, we
exciting.
wanted to wait a little bit before
Sure.
we brought that to the podcast because that is news. We are aware of it. But
I do
before
want them
we
to get
talk
canceled.
about it, we need to
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
suppose. I mean, the
All right.
tiniest teaser is that stuff for the new Pokemon is in there, and that it looks more like the Legends series than it
Okay.
does X and Y, like the older
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right. I
Segments.
believe we're doing
Oh.
segments.
Topic of the week.
Topic of
Let's
the
go.
Topics.
Who's got a topic ready?
Let's do this side of the table, and if we don't run super
Okay,
late, I'll have
okay.
something.
Yeah,
But we'll
okay.
count that as
Do you-
mine.
Okay. Yeah.
if
right.
it gets
Do you
late.
have one?
Right. Yeah, I do.
Okay, go.
Me and Devin actually did talk about this briefly before the podcast started because
I see where you're
you
going.
know I got here early and so we were chatting. But I think this would be good. He's yawning. He's so bored with this topic. He knows
God,
what it is.
Yeah.
why would you bring it up?
I
No,
can't
I'm
believe.
kidding.
So we were. Here's the kind of the question. So you know, all of us used CRT televisions when we were younger.
Yeah.
Right. You know, various
All of
kind
us.
all of us.
All of
Right.
us.
An 18-year-old might watch
All
this
of
and-
us.
An 18-year-old could have used a CRT because they're, you know, what if they lived in another country that didn't get flat screens at
Okay,
the same time
that's
as us?
fair.
You know, what do you?
No, okay. I
excluding
take it
the-
back, I take it
excluding the
back.
international audience.
Sorry, our Russian
You
audience.
you privileged
Koreans.
American.
Yeah.
You don't know what was going on
Very
in
upset.
Lithuania in 2004, and neither do I.
I don't. No
All
one
right.
does, really.
It was,
Disappointing.
you know. Anyways, it was. Point is that
Right.
we all used them, but of various brands, and I wouldn't say, given how we grew up, that we had the very best CRTs.
They're pretty good ones.
Sure, but not the top of the line. We didn't have, I don't think, a brand new Wega TV in 2001, right? Or 2002, whatever. I don't think that we had the Wega when they first released or something like that, right? The widescreen Trinitrons.
Yeah.
So that's, really good. None of us would have possibly ever used a PVM, Sony.
I don't know where we would have gotten
because
one,
those were used.
I can't even spell it.
But here's the thing. That's really funny. Here's the thing. The PVM. It was used in hospitals and for surgical. It is this direct video. It is the clearest, crispest, most solid CRT you're ever gonna look at. But it's not something that any of us would be familiar with that image.
Yeah.
When you think of a good CRT experience, right? Which is better? The super high quality or the one that you're most familiar with, a nostalgic back? Because here's the thing. If you grew up looking at a Magnavox and then you buy a Trinitron, it's going to look a bit different.
Yeah.
If you grew up with, somehow you grew up with a PVM, that your dad brought back from his private practice doctor's office,
which
and
at
you
the
have
time would have been really hard to hook.
But you have amazing picture quality, and then now you buy even a nice Wega widescreen. It's not going to look as good, right? Yeah. So the question really is now, looking backwards, if you had the choice of CRTs, would you get one that is most familiar to you as far as the picture quality and the sort of specifics of the different brands, or would you want the absolute best picture perfect model that you could get?
I think the picture needs to wave a little bit.
Okay.
He wants a terrible.
That is really
terrible
not what I asked.
I have thought about this. Is that I think you. Well, I mean, it does, obviously, with a lot of things like taste, it does depend, because some people lean more on nostalgia. Some people are trying to capture something more.
And this is just totally personal.
I think it's what I would recognize.
Okay.
Because if you're going for clear image, I don't know what the point necessarily is. If you're going for clear image, when do you just go I should get a modern OLED, right?
Okay.
Right.
But if you're going for CRT, part of the charm and part of the aesthetic is that it looked like technology from the time. If you're getting too much into all these advancements, even in some of the there are some weird CRTs they make now that are super clear images. I think it's better to try and capture the thing from your childhood, which is more fun as well as you're trying to set up and buy equipment. That's what I would go for.
The novelty of tapping a CRT and hearing it echo from the inside, putting your face up to the screen and it's all fuzzy and stuff, and hitting the power button, it's chink. And then you have to wait
actually
10s.
Goes in,
warms
up.
The TV has to wait 15 seconds before the picture actually showed up. That's the novelty of the CRT.
But the question
Real
is,
quick, I should have warned you, Michael B, that's a directional mic and it has to be facing directly at you. There you go.
The question is really about if you would rather have a familiar CRT.
Would you rather
or
be
the
familiar
highest quality?
Or good
because
quality?
I don't know if
I think you're saying you'd rather be familiar.
I had a Mickey Mouse CRT.
You had a Mickey Mouse
That's
CRT. Do you know what brand it
incredible.
was? What?
Disney.
Okay,
Disney had a brand CRT TV.
Because I don't know if it was Magnavox
Sanyo.
A Sansui? You mean?
Sanyo.
Oh, Sanyo.
Sanyo had a contract with Disney, but Philips had a really long contract with Disney.
Okay, so it might have been a Philips TV.
But they oftentimes they didn't have their branding on it. They just had Disney's branding.
I guess
it was in the shape of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, his ears.
We're gonna
and
have to
everything.
look this up to know exactly.
It's flashing on the screen.
But okay,
right
it's flashing on the
Gravity
screen right now.
ears, but-
All right, so Devin, back to you. What do you
I'm
think?
in a bit of a unique position because I still own my old CRT from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My old Sansui.
Last week when you were
still
legally a
That's what
kid.
this wins.
Yeah,
stuff.
2 weeks ago. No, I still have it's not really the TV that I had as a small child playing N64 games on it. I believe we got it. We bought the Sansui. You remember the TV?
Yeah, I know.
It's a Sansui VHS TV combo. I think it's an 11-inch screen. It's very small, But we bought it when we bought the camper. You remember that big camper?
Yeah.
That we had. We
Mhm.
bought that TV, and it's the TV
It
we
definitely
played.
outlasted the camper.
It sure
It
did.
sure did. It's the TV we played Crystal Chronicles on the way to Florida.
Yeah,
if you remember that
we
TV.
strung it up between two
Yeah, I remember.
chairs.
in
Yeah,
this big van. I still have that TV, and I think that the uniqueness of literally having the TV that I grew up playing, I wouldn't give up for. I could sell it and then get Trinitron
a better
or PVM,
looking one of the same size.
but the only reason it's sitting on my desk, I've got my computer monitor and my laptop set up and everything. I could sell it and buy another one, like a PVM,
A better one.
that would fit.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it would feel really soulless to not use it. The only
Okay,
reason that
yeah.
I play on it, I can play. I have an HDMI hookup for all my old retro consoles, so I can play them on my TV if I want to. The only reason I'm playing on a CRT is to feel like I'm playing it in the original form.
You feel so familiar with the Sansui.
So I can't say anything other than the fact that I would play it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Other than
Okay,
that
so
way,
yeah,
yeah.
so for you, familiarity is also kind of the main
So
thing.
at this point in my life, it's the only reason I would go to a CRT.
it's all he has to live for.
Mhm.
Would be to do it that way.
Okay.
So-
All right,
Pause.
all right. He talks so slow.
What about you, Ty?
All right. This is a trick. All right.
All
This
right.
is a trick. All right.
Di, go
the
ahead and
correct
answer.
answer
Explain why
is
it's a
that
trick.
you shouldn't use a CRT TV. We went over this weeks ago, and that you should watch it on your OLED with a filter. Clearly.
Right.
Now,
Right.
what I prefer is definitely the CRT that I'm most familiar with.
Okay.
The problem is,
You
for
can't
me,
get it.
I used a bunch.
Yeah,
I never really had one
Yeah.
CRT
That's
that
what
I
I was
used.
about
had
to
a lot.
yeah.
I used a rotating cavalcade of CRT TVs, some of which were widescreen CRTs, and so it's hard for me to pin them down. So my thing is, I don't want the highest quality, crispest CRT because I think bigger scan lines actually make certain games look much better.
Okay.
But I'll just kind of know it when I see it. Right? Know, it's like certain other things. I just know it. I don't know. I can't tell you what it is, but I'll know it when I see it.
This kind of
Right.
brings the
Okay.
question is that for me, Super Nintendo CRT and GameCube CRT, that was two very different televisions.
Yeah.
There's kind of no common
as
thread.
far as era goes, it definitely was, but the technology was the same. It remained.
I mean, they
the
looked
same
the
for a
ones
long
I
time.
had
The
looked
scan
different.
lines would be bigger on an older CRT
True.
TV.
No, that's a
they
good
got
point.
they got finer and
That's a good
finer as time went on.
We were kind of talking.
I
about
don't
that.
actually even like using a CRT for GameCube games. I actually don't think they benefit from it in the same way that a pixel art game does, right? Because they weren't made. The pixel art games, a lot of times you'll hear developers talk about how they knew there were scan lines and they designed the character to be altered by the scan lines, and the picture is only complete.
Dracula
when they have
is a
them.
really great example
in
because they knew
Castlevania.
that just a small cluster of red on a CRT would wash out and make it look like his eyes were glowing
Yeah,
red.
right.
Yeah,
But when you just
Yeah.
see him,
Though
on
I
an
would say that
HDMI
3D
screen.
models are really flat textures put on
No,
a
true.
polygonal structure, and so those flat textures can look a lot better when you put them in front of scan lines for the same reason.
sure,
and that's
Very-
why on
PlayStation-
N64 and PS1 I
PS1,
super
agreed.
that weird effect where the models kind of shift.
was really
looks
hard.
so
to
much
see.
better
It
on a
looks way
CRT.
better on a
Yeah, it
CRT.
was.
When you
Yeah.
get to the GameCube era, and I think it's because flat screens and LCDs were starting to be introduced. I feel like that the texturing and stuff in those games is made with a lot less intention towards
They were
CRTs.
they were still made on CRTs though. They
No, I mean
Yeah.
they were, but I don't think they were making them with scan lines in
Not as
thought.
much,
I think if
no,
you disable
no.
the scan lines, you don't have the problems that a lot of older games had. So
Yeah.
I tend to only use CRT filters and stuff on games older than that. But yeah, the perfect CRT would depend on the game console that I'm playing on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you already intercepted me, and of course, I was going to say you're all wrong. All of you are wrong because there is absolutely no reason to play a new or an old or a familiar or an unfamiliar CRT. It is only an act of despair that you will march into.
Says the guy who has a
Sir,
300-pound Trinitron
sir,
in his room.
That I drove you to get through a hurricane.
I have marched through the fires of hell when it comes to these. I am currently in talks with 4 different people selling CRTs in our area.
You're trying to sell your Trinitron?
No.
I'm
He's
not.
buying another one.
I'm buying more. I just keep buying.
You're a
I keep
clown.
buying CRTs.
You're a clown. You literally stand on a stage and go, "You're all weird."
Yeah, let me tell you something. I have, first off, I've made a profit on resales for starters. Okay, because if you're opportunistic, you can get Trinitrons for nothing, and then you can sell them for 3 times as much as you bought them for. I'm sorry, I am part of the problem. Everybody says that these CRTs are too expensive, and it's because of me. Okay,
you control the market.
I control the market.
Yeah.
No, but here's the point. Okay, Ty intercepted me. Yes, you all are wrong for playing on a CRT of any kind.
Right.
Which
was not your
bastard.
question.
How dare you do that to me? Here's the point. But since I can't say that, I'm going to say that I prefer not the CRT that is familiar to me, because similar to Ty's answer, obviously there were many CRTs that we had that I am familiar with, and I like all the little specifics of each one that we have. I do not care at all. I want the biggest, best picture possible. I want it so perfect that I could just look at it and cry, okay? But since that is not achievable in reality, and I will die never having looked at a perfect CRT, it is a fool's dream, and I am the dreamer and the fool that I'm dreaming about.
You're chasing that like perfect.
I'm chasing the perfect CRT. I'm in talks with 2 people right now about buying PVMs, trying to get a good price on those. Those I'm probably not going to resell, but if I did, I could probably get a pretty good price. But the point is,
PVMs are usually
pretty small.
Build one?
Yeah, what if you build a CRT?
It's not really feasible with anything that is available to us.
Oh,
like kit bash
hobble.
CRTs. Yeah. Maybe if you go on AliExpress, you can find.
You're
some
insane.
New CRTs.
What am I, a Chinese child?
Yeah. I was gonna say, oh my god.
Oh my god, he's here.
I'm sorry, Michael. But
He's
that
here.
is the dumbest
It's
thing
insane.
you have ever said.
Can you buy a truck that
does not change. No, I'm sorry, but
the marriage.
This is our marriage
I'm sorry.
counseling
I
podcast.
will say,
Different.
I will say he is correct. I think your understanding of cathode ray tube technology
How any
is
sort of technology
is
works
not
to begin with.
No, I'm saying
we're
I
not
think
going to
you're-
explain who
I
just
think
walked
that,
in the room.
no.
We're
I
not
think
gonna-
that you're thinking
No
more
one
of it
knows.
like it's
No one knows.
like a computer.
I think it
where
was Alex
has-
Jones.
So I'm gonna be polite real quick.
Be polite.
Excuse us.
You don't have to explain it.
No, I'm
It's
just
technology I don't really understand.
no. I'm gonna just explain it. So like with a computer, they have compatible parts that are sort of uniform, right? Like they have uniform slots that go into everything.
Universal.
And you don't have to solder the equipment onto boards usually, right? They make equipment so you can build computers. With a CRT, you could take parts out and put them back in. CRT repair people do it all the time, but you have to know how to solder. You have to have special equipment, and that's obviously very difficult
what you
to do.
suggest
So,
is not impossible. It's just that it's like
because
it's way above.
Human hands had to build every CRT that exists.
Correct.
So like
Right.
if like I had the competency, the equipment, and all of that, I could literally build a CRT. But it's like it's so outside the realm of like what I'm capable
For someone
of.
who was
So
a
that's-
kid when Shrek came out, it's not a bad question.
That's true.
Right.
Okay. Thanks for the trap that didn't work. Thank you for
the
springing
trap
it
didn't
before
work,
he could
but
get
I do
it.
want picture perfect. I want his
okay.
best.
Recently, a group it's kind of got a little more traction. They've had this out there for a while. A Discord group,
Okay.
have put out a giant, exhaustive, over 1,000 names of games long list.
No
of
Nintendo games,
and
though.
not a single Nintendo on there. No Metal Gear games because
Okay.
they're cowards.
Yeah.
List of games ranked by wokeness.
I've heard of this.
Oh.
It is a wild ride
it's
to
incredible.
read.
Okay, I've heard of this. I have
Yes.
not read it, but I did hear there's a Steam group that gets their list from Discord, I guess, and then they post it.
It's just in a Google Docs poster.
Yeah, and it's a Google Docs.
It
yeah.
is hilarious.
It's purely about the game being woke.
It
Yes.
is, as I said, that
Rank
everything
it.
is woke. DEI.
Yeah.
Is there another buzzword? It's
Left-wing propaganda.
left-wing
Left-wing
propaganda,
propaganda,
feminist
yeah.
propaganda.
Yeah.
We've been. I mean, we are in an absolute state of ipterdudedness. Okay.
We've all been ipterduded.
We've all been ipterduded.
These guys haven't, apparently.
Or ipterduded.
You gotta.
There we
you
go.
need to get
Or
into this.
ipterduded.
Here's
Or
the- here's the
ipterduded.
thing. You need to join this just to add the entire Metal Gear series to it. Because I feel like you can look at this list two ways, right? If you're looking for woke games,
I think I need to alter
find
the.
a game to get mad at.
I think yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 is currently
Baldur's
one
Gate
of the
3 is
highest.
high.
It's like number
I-
3.
I need to
Hades
alter.
is very high.
I need to alter this doc to
Having
where,
wokeness.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Right.
need to
I
alter
get
this
it.
doc where instead of
it's-
listing it as woke, I listed it as a game that is ipterduped.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It is
correct.
post ipterduped.
The best part about the
Um,
term ipterduped is that, just real quick, the term woke has been used so much
It has-
used to
it
death.
that
has.
it's like when you say a word
Means
so
nothing.
often that it just means nothing.
Yeah,
Woke
nothing
means
means
literally nothing.
Ipterduped is a word that started out meaning nothing, and we're assigning,
No,
we're ascribing meaning
I think
to it.
ipterduped means more now.
So
means more
we
now.
were
I think
looking
it has
over
different
it, and some
definition.
really funny
Definitely does.
standouts. There are 3 Final Fantasy games. I'm going to list them out here.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15. One of these is rated as no woke content. One of these is rated as extreme woke content, and the other is rated as cautious. There's some woke in there.
Okay.
What's
all
your
right.
guess?
Okay, okay,
How
how
would
we're
you
gonna
guess
rank this?
this?
Okay.
I'm gonna say that because these people are brain dead. I'm gonna say
Right.
14 is the no woke.
No. I'm
It was-
sorry. It's 13, 7, and then 15.
13, 7.
13 is the most woke.
No. I'm gonna say
Okay.
13 is no woke.
I'm going to say 7's no woke.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
7 is woke, cautious woke. That's the cautious.
I'm
woke.
actually gonna agree. 7 is cautious. Is
'Cause
cautious.
it's about to save.
And then
the
you
Earth.
said the other one was.
I'm going to say
There's
13.
15.
Oh, and
13
15?
and 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noctis, Cloud, and Lightning are the characters.
Noctis, Cloud, and
Yeah,
Lightning.
that's the game.
Yeah.
That's
The
way easier.
main.
All right.
the
Let's go.
main-
Let's
yeah,
go in
okay.
a row here. I'm just gonna go ahead and reiterate.
Go.
I'm gonna say that they say 13 is not woke.
Right.
They say that 7 is be cautious, and that 15 is extremely woke.
I'm going to say almost the invert. I'm going to say that they're saying the original 7.
Yes, this is the
Not-
original.
not
They have
remake.
integrate on there too, but
Okay.
this is the original 7 I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Not remake.
Not remake.
Okay.
I'm going to say, should I use logic? No, I'm not going to
No,
use
don't
logic.
use
No,
logic.
don't.
I'm going to say
The whole thing will fall apart if you use logic.
I'm going to say 15.
It's a list of games rated based on wokeness, which is a
Yeah.
word that I don't know the meaning
I'm
of.
going to say Noctis, no woke, 15.
Okay.
I'm going to say 7 is cautious, and I'm going to say 13 is full of woke.
Yeah.
Wait,
Quentin-
I know that's
the answer.
exactly
Wait.
what I.
Quentin is actually right.
Quinn is right.
I got it right.
What
They
did you say?
don't
Right.
think 13
is
has any
not.
wokeness. Here's the crazy
13
thing.
has a female
Can
protagonist,
you
and she's
guess?
gay.
And she's a girl boss.
It ends with 2 lesbians like
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like it's. Can you guess why 7 is caution but 15 is danger?
It's incredible.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay,
anything about
15 is danger. It's a car ride with 4 buddies.
You will never
No, but
guess
you know what the problem?
Four straight men.
No, no.
Impossible.
Yeah,
to
4
guess.
straight men.
Yes,
I'm gonna.
It is about a king who
Yeah,
conquers
who
the
needs
devil.
to get his throne back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh.
man.
It is impossible to guess.
Is it
You
Cindy?
will never
Nope.
guess.
No. Cindy is not
All-American
woke.
car girl.
No, she's the
Yeah.
all-American car girl. They
But I
love.
mean,
they
she's
love
like-
that
It is
stuff. No, I'm gonna
impossible.
say it's based around
Aren't you
Luna's
finding
role
an
in the story.
imperial
Nope.
thing?
It's not. Wait.
Nope.
Hold on. It's not
so
based on.
7 is only caution because Cloud cross dresses. There's references to gay characters. There's pro climate change, and you're forced to do eco terrorism. It's an exhaustive list.
Which is why it's the greatest game that
Yeah,
has ever been
correct.
made.
Dope.
I want you
But
to
I
talk
look
about-
at all of
15
those things in real
I was
life.
gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean,
15
course.
they only
Yeah.
have one complaint with, but it gets a danger rating.
Okay.
In the city of Lestralum in
Okay.
15, the women work in the factories and the men raise the kids and live at home.
That's it.
That is it.
I'm about to say
One-
the R word.
That is it. And they said no explanation is given. the men all went off to war, and the war ended, and the women had to run the factories, and when the men came back, they didn't know
how to run the factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
A real thing that happened in the real world.
I didn't know.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
Incredible.
There's a bunch of great stuff on
Okay.
there, but every so often you'll come across one and it will just say, please read the full explanation and link to a thesis about the
On
game.
why
This is
game
incredible.
Good
If it,
grief.
Hollow Knight was on there.
I'm just
You
gonna
got to
say
watch
right
out for
now-
Shovel Knight, because in Shovel Knight you can change. Oh, you can, if it
Yeah,
says
right.
body type A and B, that's woke, and that will get a red rating.
This
Okay.
is, you know what I'm going to say? This is not serious. This is the Andy Kaufman of gaming. Somebody
It
has,
has to.
devoted
that
their
would be
life
me.
to this.
Somebody's
That's
interduped
pretty
us.
funny.
Someone has
We
interduped
would be
us.
Yeah.
I do have to
That's
say,
pretty
we went
impressive.
through
That
all
is
of them.
incredible.
They are
Right.
very cautious.
It's
Right?
incredible.
They use DEI anytime there's a person of color.
Do it yourself.
Anytime they
Yeah,
replace
correct.
a white character, that's DEI. But anytime it's set in Japan and they replace a white character with a Japanese character, that's also DEI. It's great. It's fantastic. They slipped up once, and right at the end, me and Ty found it. Can you
was so
guess the
funny.
time they
It
slipped
was
up
so
the
funny.
game?
It sounds like there's
recent game,
hundreds
old
of
game?
games.
It's a recent game. We've actually talked about it on the podcast, and it is a game
Is it Forspoken?
recently that
No,
people
but-
didn't understand the message of
Okay.
and clashed hard about.
Before you say...
The Last
and
of
is-
Us 2.
No,
No, before you say...
Life is
not on the
Strange.
list.
I'm sorry, wait a minute. We
What? How is Last of
Maybe
Us
they
2
just
not
haven't
on the
just
played
don't
it.
even
Maybe they
bother.
haven't even
Gentlemen,
played it.
We have not addressed why Final Fantasy 13 is not woke.
They don't
We
have a
can't
reason. They
figure
just
that
say there's
one
none
out.
in there.
We can't figure that one out.
Is it?
Um,
I mean, to be fair, the story of 13 is pretty minimal. It's like they don't. It's just sort of lightning going around
saying it
kicking
doesn't have a
people.
They
in the
social
said
message.
face.
Portal.
as
They
much as
say
the others. Okay.
Portal is extremely woke because all the men in it are seen as inferior to the women, and the men are idiots. And that's not.
Can I just ask
Wait,
this so
are-
that
are
I
there
can?
any character- Isn't...
There's Cave Johnson.
He's
It-
not in it. He's just
Right,
listening to
but he's a genius. He's
And
just
Wheelie.
has no common sense.
Oh, because...
yeah.
He's
Oh,
been
we...
through a
And
lot.
there's
No,
the
no.
Rat
Oh,
Man,
I
who's
know it
an
is.
actual
And
genius.
he's also not in it. But here's the
He's
thing.
not in it.
So wait a minute. No, they're saying because in the second game, Wheatley is a
Oh.
a fool, and GLaDOS is.
Do you want an
like,
even
really
better
smart.
one? Don't play Battlefront Collector's Edition on the PC. The original one's fine. Can you guess why classic Battlefront is not good?
It's woke DEI.
It's woke.
Yeah, it's woke DEI.
It's woke.
Wait,
Nice.
it's because blue and red, right?
Nope.
Are you
No,
serious?
nice try. You'll never get this one.
You'll
This one
never-
is impossible.
All right, let's
Because
hear it.
if you throw a grenade at your feet and you blow yourself up, in the original it says player killed them or himself, and now it says themself.
I would never have
Are you
guessed that.
Because maybe a girl's playing the
Okay.
game.
Here's the wild thing. So a game came out of nowhere.
Just so that I can fear for the children of the world. How many members does this Discord group have?
I have not tried to join the Discord.
We're gonna
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
just-
have to do a little sleuthing.
The
after
game-
This podcast.
okay.
I
So-
won't feel so bad if it's like a collection of 100 people.
I've seen this thing everywhere.
Gotta be more.
Here's the thing.
I'll be the guinea pig.
If you go on there, they may have changed it because it doesn't get updated constantly. It got updated while we were talking
Right.
originally.
Yeah.
Me and Ty were looking through it. We decided to look up Helldivers.
Okay.
They say don't play Helldivers because
it is also woke.
body types are ambiguous.
Woke DEI.
Okay.
Right?
And
I'm amazed
there's a
Animal
couple-
Crossing's not on it. They
There's
don't-
no Nintendo.
there's no
games.
Nintendo.
They don't
no
own Switches.
Nintendo.
All right.
They don't own
All right.
Switches.
If you
This is mostly
subscribe
Steam
to all of
library.
if you
Okay.
subscribe to all of this stuff, you have never bought a Nintendo console because it's portable. And where are you gonna go?
Yeah, you're not going. Yeah.
Here's this is where it slipped. And me we laughed so hard we missed our turn.
We did.
Which is
Yeah,
okay.
I missed
Oh,
my
wow.
Chick-fil-A.
It says at the end, it says, it's like subtle DEI because you can blah, 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 blah because they're women in, like
You
command
can do
positions
it
and shit.
yourself.
Okay.
And they're like, they were like, you only difference is voices. There's no physical differences between men and women in the game
Because you're wearing.
because you're wearing
Giant
giant
big
power
armor. Yeah,
armors.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, they said, conspicuously, it shows an interracial couple in the opening scene. And I thought, ooh, boy,
they done slipped
that's
up.
fantastic.
So it's just old
came
school
off.
races.
I'm
It's
just
old
gonna
school.
say
flipped.
on the question of these mechanized suits don't distinguish by gender. You know what? You know what really pisses me off? When a girl gets in my car, the car doesn't turn pink.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't get a big bow on top of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It makes me upset.
The headlights
How
don't get brighter.
How come
Yeah.
the car doesn't change when she gets inside?
It's
of it?
upsetting.
It makes
Well,
me
that's
DEI.
frankly
That's all
upsetting.
terrible.
Well, the
Isn't
I
it-
hate that it exists.
He
the-
laughed so
Yeah,
hard.
I love that it exists.
I'm just gonna
It's
tell you
incredible.
here's a shock for you guys. I created the list.
Oh my god! I
I'm the
knew
original creator
it.
of the list.
I knew it.
I
I'm
knew
revealing.
it.
I
Whoever
love
made this list, which is me,
Yeah,
when
obviously.
they
Don't
played Alan
pretend.
Wake 2, they must have
Oh, we didn't
had
look up
a
Alan Wake
grand
2.
mal
We
seizure.
should have.
Okay,
I do remember
they-
you screaming from your room when you booted up.
that was
Alan
it.
Wake
You could hear
2.
me.
Yeah.
You could hear.
Incredible.
I was in my apartment. You could hear it across town.
hear it
I
across
literally,
town. It was
it
great.
turned on.
We don't even live in the same city.
And I,
Yeah.
I just a grand mal seizure instantly. Okay, over it. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Sorry,
we
no,
got to
it should,
flash forward
yeah.
in time because I'm pretty sure we're running a bit long here. We've still got segments to do.
Okay, so you wanted us to go with our segments.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Mine will probably be a little faster. I was thinking about just sort of which one would you prefer, and then kind of talk about. Would you rather a game that is like a very simple and safe concept, a concept that you've played a million times before, but it's just extremely polished?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
every bit of it is just like polished and wonderful and just like dripping with polish.
Dripping with polish.
No, I was like, I could think of a good word,
There's
but
no other word other than polish you've used to
Yes.
describe this. Go on.
yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
This
you
product
have
is
my
straight
picture.
up moist. It's
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah, keep
You
polishing.
can slide right off of it.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
No, yeah, just a really refined, polished experience, but the concept you've played before.
Mhm.
Or would you rather play something that's an extremely high in concept and very unique, but it has rough edges and it's lacking some of that like more polished, concise, succinct? Which one would you prefer and why?
I'll go first. I very much enjoy when I get to go back to like a very familiar series,
Mhm.
like some indie company picks up like a dead franchise or
Sure.
something like a dead
Okay.
game style. But in general, I kind of like it when they try something weird, even if it doesn't have like all of the edges sanded off and there's some like odd parts that don't fit together. When it's high concept, that's kind of what I love is that like I love trying something and going like I've never played anything like this before. It's try something new. And it's one of those things where it's like I feel like we do way too often in like 2024 entertainment is watching The Office for the 400th time, right?
Yeah.
So much of like our entertainment is like, let me go to this comfortable place I've always been,
Mhm.
right? And I think that like I personally try to practice mental flexibility where I
Sure.
don't let myself become like more rigid the older I get. I try to like experience,
Yeah.
you know, like what's happening in modern culture. You
Yeah.
know, what kind of shows are interesting, what kind of games are interesting, what kind of like experiences are interesting. You gotta practice it because it doesn't
Sure.
come naturally.
Mhm.
You're gonna like retreat into the things you're familiar with. So
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
play
yeah.
2D Zeldas forever.
Yeah.
And as they refine them, they're just gonna get greater and greater. But I would never have picked up Risk of Rain if I had done that.
That's a
Mhm.
good
And that's
point.
become one of my
right.
favorite games. I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have picked up Enshrouded if I hadn't done that.
Mhm.
It's becoming one of my favorite games. And so it's like I try to get out there and try new experiences over polished versions of previous experiences.
Sure.
Ty, what do you think?
Well, this is a tough one for me because I feel like it changes every couple of months, and it's
Okay.
whatever I'm like kind of in the mood for.
Mhm.
I love going back and playing a game that's very familiar, but usually I just replay the games that I already enjoy and love. I try to play
Yeah.
retro games every once in a while, and so I think I'm with Ethan. I think in terms of new
I should
games,
also just quickly specify it doesn't have to be an old game.
Right.
It's just
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
a concept or an idea you've
I think
played
I
a million
like
times,
the
yeah.
concepts. Like a good example is that like one of the reasons I love the Legend of Zelda series is I don't feel like they've ever made a game that really felt the same as another game, at least with the 3D Zeldas. I think
Yeah.
they're all very clearly delineated in either terms of aesthetic or in terms of the core gameplay
Sure.
from one another. And you do kind of have to get used to this idea of like, that was an incredible experience. The next one isn't going to be like that.
Oh, big time.
Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe
I
we'll have a
love
throwback.
Skyward
Maybe
Sword,
we'll
yeah.
have a Twilight Princess that's kind of a throwback to like an Ocarina of Time. But in general, we might get a Skyward Sword or we might get a Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be just a completely different experience. And I
Yeah.
have to be okay with that. And so when I go into that's why I like to try lots of new series. Like Ethan said, why I'm such a big fan of indie games, frankly, because they
Sure.
are kind of the most innovative games on the market right now. And they're often not very refined. In fact, like if we judge them by a lot of the standards with which we judge AAA games, they might come up wanting, too short or too unpolished. But they're often also cheaper, so we don't judge them by those standards fairly. But you get such unique and interesting experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You get an Undertale out of it, you know. You get a Stardew Valley because they're just like, which they just have interesting things that you've never experienced before. And I think at this stage in my life, it's kind of funny because as I get older, people tend to get more nostalgic, but I am starting to like look for new experiences. I want to capture not the things that I had as a child, but that feeling I got of discovering a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm nostalgic for that feeling, and I know I can't get it by just playing something that I'm familiar with, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
All right.
Michael B., what about you? Do you want something familiar that's really polished or that has a bigger concept but is rough around the edges?
When you asked that question, I immediately thought of Tron Evolution.
Ooh.
I don't know if you saw the Did You Know Gaming video on the original version of that.
No, I haven't.
They have, so if you ever played the release of Tron Evolution, it's like a standard, it's almost Arkham light
Yeah.
combat with some combos and stuff like that. The original version was more of like a high concept, like you throw the disc, but you have some control over it in the maneuverability, kind of like, you know how the movie Wanted, you could like curve bullets. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a comic book
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
But it was it's like the technique you throw your disc is in which direction it curves and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's a very interesting video.
So you're saying
I would
that
prefer that.
You
over the,
wait. Okay.
Tron Evolution was playing it a little bit safe,
I'm going to say
being
so.
like an Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, like
right.
wall running. Yeah.
But the original
direct.
version.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
The concept.
We're gonna say one or two as the answer here, right? One is you prefer something familiar, and two is you prefer something experimental.
The high concept.
You prefer something experimental instead of something familiar. Okay.
In the vein of Tron 2.0 is actually
Yes.
pretty experimental in the
Very.
sense that that the combat is really based around like someone throws a disc and you have to use your disc to hit it back.
Well, I'm gonna say
What do you prefer?
I don't want either, because I am of the
course.
opinion, once again, I'm an advocate for you gamers, that there should be no more games. We should stop.
Okay.
I'm going to say, because guess what? We can't figure out how to build the pyramids again. Okay.
You're on those
So
pyramids
if we
today.
try to build the pyramids again, we're not going to be able to do it.
I mean, we actually know
And so
exactly how
we
to build
can't build the pyramids again. We don't know how to.
It wasn't that complicated.
We don't know how to build the pyramids again with their technology. Okay. And now you look at architecture, it's all disgusting and hideous. All right. This is a representative of the video game industry. We have pyramids of the past, which are great, and we can't figure out how to redo it. And every time we try, we end up with poor imitations. When we try to create something experimental,
points coming along.
guess what? We have hideous Las Vegas architecture that makes it look like it's visual vomit, okay? So the question of which do I prefer? I'd prefer if you just didn't do it at all. However, if I have to pick one...
Which is the whole point of me asking
If
you.
I have to pick, because I am...
You do.
This
You
is
have to
verbal
pick.
violence and coercion by making me pick, but I will pick. I'm going to have to say I would rather something familiar but done very, very well. Because as much as I like experimental content, right? Actually, I'm changing my answer. I want something experimental because I can always go back and play those pyramids, and they're better than anything they could make now.
What a roller coaster.
But also, experimental games tend to be terrible, and so I want something familiar.
What if we built the pyramids, but this time
I'm gonna have a
He
nervous
just
breakdown.
What if
going
this
back and
is
forth.
this is
I broke his brain with a question. I did it.
So,
You did.
I did
this
it.
is the thing.
I talked
So-
about mental flexibility, and Quentin
Quentin has none.
popped the top of his head open to show us his calcified brain.
Yeah,
So
right.
the point ultimately
Yeah.
is, I don't know. I don't know which one.
I want to apologize to
Concise.
viewers.
Everyone.
Quentin's brain is completely surrounded by plaque, and there's
I don't
nothing
know.
we can do about it.
All right, that's my answer.
I think we are in a classic scenario of this side of the table having the same answer and us having the same answer. I don't know what Quentin's answer was,
I don't know either.
but I think I realized I was wondering about this. I was like, which one do I prefer? Because I am similar to what you were saying. I'm like obsessed with new experiences in gaming. When I cherish those moments that I have like a brand new experience, but at the same time, I almost can't be bothered with a game that like I'm like, this is a cool concept, but you didn't stick the landing, and like you're out there in no man's land with this concept, and I don't want to play it anymore. Come back when you've got it like polished and solidified. And so I sat down and I thought, Nintendo, what makes Nintendo so special is that they release experimental games that are extremely polished.
yeah, Splatoon.
Splatoon,
Yeah.
ARMS, like they aren't like buggy messes or like glitchy or have like these really big obvious flaws. Some people would say they're not as ambitious as their counterparts, but I think they're more experimental. And so I'm like, but then I started asking myself the question, which side of Nintendo do I really love? Do I really love their polish, or do I really love their experimental? I love both, obviously, but which one, if I have to throw one into the void and keep one? And I think this is what Quentin said, but I think I think I'm in love with the polish. I think that like a game that recently came out called Bakeru, it's about a tanuki who transforms into a person. And
Okay, I have seen that.
I
Yeah.
have
yeah,
seen that,
yeah, yeah.
I've not seen that. I don't believe it's
fights,
real.
He fights with little
I
drums.
believe that you are lying to me.
It's from the guys who made Yoshi's Crafted World, Kirby's Epic Yarn,
Goemon.
Good Feel.
Okay, you gotta send me a link to this game. It sounds cool.
It's very good. You use these, you use little like timpani drums as your attack, and like R is the right timpani and L is the left.
Sounds pretty cool.
Is it multiplayer?
No, it's just a single player game. It is a lot like Goemon, and there may be former Konami devs on
I just
the,
said
the
that
group.
to be disruptive.
No, it's
as
actually
I always am.
it has very strong Goemon vibes. No, but the thing is that like it's not it's just a platformer. Like it has a cool mechanic, but it's ultimately just the way you attack. It's not like you have to play in rhythm or anything. But like it's so polished and so much fun that made me realize that that's the first like small project indie game that I've like really fallen in love with. And I think indie games are proof that I don't love the experimentation as much as the polish, because I've played so many indie games that are really high concept, really experimental, but they aren't polished. And I'm just like, I'll play the third version of this that is really polished. Like, I think Risk of Rain is a great example. The game's super polished. Like, it just works. There's nothing in the game where you're just like, I gotta overcome the jank, or I gotta get around the mechanic, or like this just doesn't work. It's like the game really refined. Risk of Rain Returns
Returns is definitely that way.
I didn't like
There's
Risk
no
of
bad
Rain.
skills in Returns.
Yeah, the original Risk of Rain I couldn't get into, but Returns, now it's polished. So I think if I'm like, I want to say that I like experimental because I do love experimental games, but if you try to take one from me, the polish or the experimental, I'll hang on to the polish just to have like
Devin,
that refined
I appreciate
experience.
your answer, but you are in fact wrong, and we did not agree and not say the same thing because you
Okay.
gave an answer and I refused.
That's true.
Therefore,
That's
we
true.
couldn't.
Just once, can you answer my question?
No, absolutely not. You always ask questions that I don't
know.
agree with,
I know.
and I will not be coerced by the political violence of this woke DEI podcast.
Go ahead.
Gotten stuck on that.
Go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
woke.
I have
You're right.
my answer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Kyle, give us your answer.
I love indie games and I love jank. Okay, it is because it
Talk
always
to the people.
it always adds a new special moment whenever you play the game. You always find something crazy to happen, and it's hilarious. I was
Never
playing
glitches the same.
except when it crashes. But I was playing oh crap, what was the game called?
Wait,
I can't remember.
what?
It was some Swedish indie devs robots attacking.
You're out there, Swedish
robots
indie dev,
attacking in the 80s. It's actually pretty
We're
great.
not recording. No.
But no, that's fine.
I'm sorry. The question is, do you prefer classic style games that try to perfect the style, or do you prefer experimental games?
He does know what the question is.
He
No,
knows
he
what the
does.
question
I know what
is.
it is.
just
Of course he
refused to
does.
answer.
No, things that are like experimental in high concept.
Come take my seat.
hold
Come
on,
take your mic.
No, he's already answered the.
about this.
He's already answered the question.
I shall argue. I will
Yeah.
argue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'll see my time because my question wasn't that good.
What is it?
So okay, like
You're just talking about a Swedish.
no, like
you're just
high
talking about
concept.
I want you to understand. The question was asked, and then you said nothing in answer to the question. You just said, "I'm going to talk about this Swedish game."
I haven't played that game in months either.
I haven't played. You haven't even played the Swedish game in months.
Welcome to the
I don't even-
Derailed
Hello.
Pod.
I don't
Welcome
even
to the
know who
Woke
hell this
DEI
is.
podcast.
I walked in off the street. Sorry.
Yeah, who is
I
this
don't even know
guy?
who this is.
So-
Talking about an arcade.
Are we-
When I pulled up, he was
So-
trying to clean my car window, and I said, "No, go away."
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And I let him in my house.
And the
Why'd you do that?
and the worst part of this is he has already answered the question.
He did answer the question.
A great high concept indie game that well, I don't know if it's necessarily high concept like crazy.
You don't even.
But it does change up the formula with a roguelike, where generally, roguelike, you play as a hero, you gain skills, or some of them are card based, you'll gain cards, different attacks, and you're going to fight the final boss, the big bad monster in the dungeon.
Right.
You're the big bad monster in the dungeon, and you're going to kill people.
What's it
I've
called?
heard of this game.
It's
I'm sorry.
called
Is that a card?
None Shall Intrude.
Yeah,
Oh.
And you
And
play,
this is a
you
high
play,
concept
you play
game.
as a dragon.
But
well,
then,
it flips,
but then you said
flips
it's
it around.
but then you say, but it's actually it's classic roguelike.
it's
and
it's really
just,
polished.
And it's really polished.
it's actually not.
Let me just. I'm just gonna say.
It's in early access. You get one level.
Kyle likes
I'm
low
just-
concept, unpolished.
I'm just
found
gonna-
he likes terrible
He likes
games.
garbage.
I just
That's
love
why
games
I hang
that are
out with
good.
you.
Can I just let me just say
Exclusively.
something right now? I intentionally gave a terrible answer,
Right.
and this stranger came on our podcast.
He one up you.
and somehow one upped
He
me
beat you.
with a
He
real
got you.
answer.
He got
Yes, it's even better.
It's the new Quentin.
It
Yeah.
makes it even
He's
better.
the new.
He's the
Well,
new.
you're
he's
the
an
new
Ethan.
Ethan.
I was gonna say
He's
you're,
an Ethan.
perpetually
you're new
frustrated.
Quentin, I'm old Ethan.
Yeah. Perpetually frustrated. Devin and I are
Can you
switching
make
places
sure
too.
that
Okay.
you didn't set the camera in the shot. Just
I-
look at the shot and make
No,
sure you
no,
didn't
he's
set
good.
the
No,
camera.
it's. I
Oh
think
my god.
It's in.
Okay.
incredible.
Incredible.
Well, now we know,
Welcome.
Kyle.
You want to play that RV game?
Kyle,
get
would
that
you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I want
could
to
you
play that
get
RGB
out of
game.
here?
That looks great.
Get out of here. We have a segment to get onto.
We do.
It's Death Road to Canada in VR.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
It looks really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
really
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
This whole podcast.
It's not a
today-
VR game. It's an RV game.
it is.
Let
I
me
knew
just
what
tell
you
you
were
something.
talking about,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Let me
yeah.
just tell you something. This podcast today has not been up to OSHA standards.
So
Okay.
I think that might be underwear on that light.
We have not followed OSHA standards. We have not followed regulations. We don't know who this guy is. None of us are wearing our hard hats.
No.
All right.
Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back to
Welcome back to the Power
podcast.
Brothers
I
podcast.
know
We had a
there's a
person on
big-
here who didn't sound the same for a while, and we apologize about
Yeah,
it.
it?
that's
That
against
was-
the rules.
cut.
Hold on.
Wait.
Guy,
Ethan,
guy.
what? Yeah. Shut up, Ethan.
Who was that?
I don't know who that was.
We don't know.
I
There's
don't
really
know.
no way of knowing.
He walked up on.
this
I mean,
point.
he just
Okay.
he just took your
There's no
chair.
way.
He
Yeah.
threw you
Yeah.
out of it. I don't.
Ethan, I'm okay with you mentioning that group in the news, but stop inviting their members to come on
Yeah.
the podcast.
please,
For God's
please.
sakes.
Okay.
Don't do that again.
Yeah.
All right.
That was actually the founder of that Discord group we were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
earlier.
Yes,
Thanks for being
yes.
on the pod.
Yeah.
Thanks for
We
being on
really
the pod.
appreciate
Yeah,
him coming
that's
up to
nice.
clear
Okay.
up.
All right.
Ty-
Do you have a segment?
Do you have a segment?
I mean, I have a segment. It's pretty simple.
Okay,
And
go.
So if
we'll,
you guys,
we'll go through it
why
quick.
What's your topic?
why are playing games on your mobile phone? Why is it so terrible? Why does it just feel bad to play games on a mobile phone, even if it's
Let's all give one sentence answers because it should be that easy.
It should be pretty simple.
Can I start?
Please.
Yes, start.
No buttons.
No buttons is what I was gonna say.
But what if you have
buttons.
a controller? Even if you have a controller, it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, wait. Are you telling me that I have to purchase a controller for a mobile game?
Yeah, right.
No buttons as a standard.
Or not necessarily a mobile game. You can emulate games on your phone.
You said, wait. Are we talking about emulate games as well?
Yeah, but how often do you even do that?
No, but
I would often. I have played through so many games emulated on a phone. I mean, like, are you kidding?
Yeah,
are you on phone or on your Retroid or on your Steam Deck?
On my phone.
Okay.
You realize the first time that I played through? No, not the first time, but the probably
get your mic a little bit closer
second or third or fourth time.
Yeah,
I played through Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I played it on a phone. Okay,
no,
because I had
emulation's
a
okay. It's just that there's always like a better way to emulate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even count emulation. Yeah,
I'd say that a phone with a controller that allows you to place it in a vertical position is the absolute best way to play a DS game.
I still don't. Yeah, no, I'll give.
Okay.
There's
pretty
absolutely
good.
yeah.
That's
If you want to play a
good.
DS, 3DS,
well, I won't say it's the best way. I'll say a DS is the best way. Emulate. Yeah,
but
emulate.
I want 2 Game Boy Advances to play my DS games.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's the big thing though, is that if you're playing
Yeah.
DS
2
games
Game Boy
and then you want to
Advances.
flip it over and play your PS2 game, you can. You can't do that with a 3DS.
That's true. The thing
And
that I'll
also
say,
you have
I
to
just
play
don't
3DS.
like the idea of like I'm playing a game and like I get a text message and the same device like kind of glitches out and like displays.
And they don't have a do not disturb function.
Are you talking about a mobile game or a game
Ty's just asking why it's terrible to play on your cell phone.
I think
it's not natural and it has to be dumbed down.
Yeah, I mean,
if you just
Tetris is the best game to play on your cell phone. It is played better on a Super
like
Nintendo.
that is such a good point, and I can tell you, I was playing Tetris on my phone like a few days ago, and I was I wasn't doing bad or anything, but all I could think was, I wish that I was playing Tetris on the DS. And you know what I did? I went and grabbed my Retroid and started playing the DS Tetris game, right? Because you don't have to worry about the top screen, and it was so much better. It was just infinitely better playing it that way.
And that's the thing that I'll say is like, I'm really glad that Dragon Quest came to the Android store. It might be on iOS, but like, it's got to be the worst way to experience Dragon Quest is like on your phone. They're all locked in vertical mode, and like, I'm glad it's there for people that can't access it on other platforms. But I just think it's the worst way to go.
I feel like your question is a touch too wide in the sense of, if we say like games made for phones, why are they so terrible?
Yeah.
Because the no buttons argument is better for that.
Yeah, I would say that that was not my question. It's just that like inherently playing a game on your phone doesn't feel as good.
I agree with you.
I don't think it necessarily. I think not necessarily, because I think it entirely depends on what phone you've got and whether you can, the quality of your controller.
You play a PC at a desk. You play your console on a couch. You play your phone on the toilet.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why
I do those
Right.
inverted.
I
only
saying.
play my PC.
Has
on
everyone
the
else
toilet.
given their answer?
Yeah, go.
A surprise. This was a trap.
Oh my God, a trap?
We are the
Ty did not
discourse.
realize it, but he laid the leaves
This is-
down
no,
I
right over the
absolutely-
punji pit.
I absolutely realized
This is not
it.
OSHA
I'm really
regulated. You
upset.
can't lay a trap
Listen,
on a work site.
I'm really
Um,
upset.
Sakaguchi already made a phenomenal game, 2 of them on the
Oh
phone
my
that
God.
cannot be emulated on a console. They are phone games and they are phenomenal.
Yeah,
And you can never
okay.
test me on this because they don't exist anymore. He came along, he created them, he destroyed them. He
Okay.
opened the doors into paradise and showed us the forbidden fruit and then said, "Sayonara, suckers," and he pulled an Acme lever and
my
we
God.
fell through a hole in the floor,
So
right?
wait, this
Terra
is-
Battle 1 and
Terra
2
Battle, yeah, okay.
are
Actually
unbelievably good games,
Wow.
and you can't play them on the closest would maybe be a DS. They are designed to be played with your thumb on a touch screen, and they are designed not to be dumbed down, but to be made more complicated by
I'm
that
sure Terra
fact.
Battle 2 has a PlayStation Store release.
It
think
might.
it
It
does.
might. I
Yeah.
just looked it up, and they said there's no way to play the Terra
okay.
Battle games
Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Those games, you had Fuji's art. It's insane. It's insane. It's Drakengard and Last Story artists who made all of the character designs. They are all 10 out of 10s. They are phenomenal. The RPG elements of the game, fantastic. Even the like annoying stuff in most mobile games, he had it pretty streamlined. Like the monetization and like the gacha stuff was pretty relegated to just like somewhere off in the distance. The games were smarter. They weren't dumbed down. The mechanics were designed for one thumb and in portrait mode.
What do you mean by they were like smarter?
So like you basically, the way it worked is your characters to attack a monster had to pass them. And if they could pass another one at the same time, they would attack stronger. So you wanted to pass a bunch of little monsters and then pass a big one to hit it harder. And if your character had like lightning element, whenever it ended its move, it would stun the enemies around it. They would lose their turn.
That's great, but how is that better on a mobile phone and not on with a controller?
Yeah, I feel like you could do that on a...
Nope. It would be terrible. Trust me. You had to grab a character and flick them past like 15 enemies and then flick them to the end. To do it with a controller, I mean this sincerely, took almost 10 times as long. You want this like fluid motion of like drawing a line in between everyone.
So you're saying it could be done on the DS?
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
with
why
the
I
DS,
said you could do it on the
or the Switch or the Steam Deck.
Actually, here's the thing. It would be much worse on the Switch because you would have to be doing this instead of on your phone where it's all designed to be around your
You
thumb.
hold the Switch in portrait mode.
Oh, well.
But how do you get your thumb to the other side or the top?
It's too big.
It is designed to be the most you have to move is this and the least you have to move is this. So it is just one fluid motion in a small area. He already did, and then he deleted that game from existence. And he was like, I figured it out, and no one played it. So you guys don't deserve
what you're
it.
telling me right now is that this cannot be found and that there is no proof it exists other than what you have said, and that I do not believe you, that it exists, and I believe you're a liar. There is not a good mobile game. You made that up.
You can't trap Quentin.
It is not real.
No, I did.
Let me get
here's why it's still trapping, even though he still fell into it. Because my point is, there can't be a good mobile game because of you.
Because of me.
Because of all of you.
Because we didn't play it.
Every one of you.
I did play it.
There was a good mobile game.
Both Terra Battles.
Nobody played it.
Quite a bit.
The common fault in mobile gaming is us. Even if you don't believe it.
Wow. Society.
Now let me specify this question just a little bit. Because my question was kind of like, why are games that are good on like consoles and stuff bad when played on your phone?
Because they have to be dumbed down.
Ty, I just want to say we strayed too far from the path on your question.
Don't think that was
There's
your
only
question.
one answer.
We strayed.
They needed Jesus,
All right, guys.
and they refused.
Our
Upsetting.
final segment.
We're gonna wrap it up. Games I haven't played.
And I have really strong opinions about
He
it.
did.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we have a bumper?
I was trying to say something wrong.
so
and
now
I
when's the
said
bumper?
something
You said it right.
No,
I said
I can put a
I'm
bumper.
very
The bumper is now.
disappointed. You did it
This
wrong.
is the bumper.
This is the bumper.
You did
Yeah.
it wrong.
Oh, okay.
It was dancing in the last one. Now
I
it's
had
us
no idea.
talking
Now
about
it's us
bumpers.
talking about the bumpers. Okay, bumper.
Who's got it?
I've never played Beat Saber.
Okay.
What's your strong
What's your
opinion?
strong
Yes, you
opinion
have, Ty.
We have
I've
been
never
here
played Beat
2
Saber.
hours.
It's been a while.
What is your strong opinion?
I've never played Beat Saber, but I will say no one has ever felt cooler or looked dumber than when playing Beat Saber.
That is beautifully said. That is beautifully said. Yeah, you do feel cool. Quentin, what do you got?
I have never played this Swedish experimental but exceptionally normal, but also it's terrible, but it's a lot of fun. It's early access and you shouldn't buy it. I haven't played it, but all I can say is whoever that stranger was is a complete moron in every way.
That's not an opinion about the game.
And in relation to that game is part of my proof text that I will be writing about how he is a moron. And
There you go.
Unnecessarily
Use your
aggressive, but as
podcast.
always, we're not allowed to comment.
Unnecessarily
You're not
aggressive.
allowed
We
to
can't
comment.
Not allowed to
No one's
question.
allowed
You
to
can't
comment.
criticize.
No,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to question.
Not
so-
allowed to
question.
question. You're
No.
not allowed
No
to
questions.
question.
Devin,
Uh,
what have you got for
anything.
us?
I've never played Fusion Fall.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it ruined my friend's life, and I will never forgive it.
That is a very strong opinion.
I will never forgive it.
It's very
It's such a
strong.
piece of crap.
All right.
It's like the worst thing ever made.
And no one can hear you
No one
because
can
you're a
hear you.
mile
Shut
away from your
up.
microphone.
All right.
Michael B, give us your opinion.
What's a game that you have not
We'll have
played
Ethan close
that
it.
you have a strong opinion about?
Arkham Origins Blackgate. Never played it.
You never played it, okay?
Yeah.
Looks like crap.
It
Probably is crap.
It was not great.
All right, there you go.
That's it.
There
Okay.
you go.
And I feel very strongly about this.
Good.
Yeah, you should know.
I have
You never
never played Banjo Tooie,
Oh, you got a chance.
but
I don't think I'm gonna like
I
this.
think it's gonna be. I think it's really good. I
Yo,
think it's
yo,
really,
hey.
really good.
What?
That's my. I know.
What?
I know. I have a
What?
shockingly strong
You?
opinion. about it.
That's a strong.
No
opinion.
questions.
Don't you?
It wasn't a
hate-
question.
I
It
despise
wasn't a
the
question. It was an
first
exclamation point.
You.
There's a-
You said
Yeah.
it wrong.
You?
Okay. You said it wrong.
It's because that first-person shooter segment.
Guys,
Yeah.
if you're watching this,
We're
please
No more.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't do that.
This
So
was-
don't let
we
him
can-
tell you what
so
to
that,
do.
So that
This
we
is our
can
worst
get
episode.
What
so
up?
we can get better security and random men can't just
Yeah.
attack
we're
us
not,
in our
we're not
What?
going to have our podcast here anymore because he
No.
knows where we are.
I'm just gonna tell you
and,
something. If we get 100 subscribers on Patreon, we will make sure everything is OSHA certified.
Yeah.
we will
Everyone's got
make
their
sure
papers.
that man who interrupted
No
us
more.
is dead in a gutter.
But
we will take care of him.
But since we don't, for our Patreon exclusive members that don't exist yet, let's get Kyle back in here to tell us about a game he has a strong opinion.
All right.
Come on,
Come on, dance
tell
for
us
us,
about a
Kyle.
game. What's a game you have a strong
Come on,
opinion about?
Scott,
but you've never
tell us the
played?
opinion. Tell us the opinion you've
Strong
got.
opinion that
Tell-
I've never
Never played.
played.
Strong.
quickly.
You've never played it, but you got a strong opinion. Quick.
Tears of the Kingdom was nothing but a disappointment.
Yeah! Yeah!
Good night, everyone.
Podcast over.
Podcast over.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Forever. Goodbye.